My name is Jennifer Brooks, and at 32 years old, I never thought I'd become the family's silent wallet. For years, I quietly propped everyone up, especially my sister. I was the steady one, the dependable one, yet somehow the overlooked one, until that explosive family dinner when my sister decided to tear me down in front of the entire table. Her words sliced right through, but my comeback flipped the script. The stunned faces around that table showed there was no turning back. At the family dinner celebrating my dad's birthday, my sister sneered across the table, "So what does it feel like to be a freeloader?" The room erupted in awkward laughter, my parents chuckling nervously, her husband shifting uncomfortably. Everyone knew her life was a mess of bad choices and endless crises, but there she was, acting like the queen, while I'd been covering her debts for years. I just smiled, leaned back in my chair, and said softly, "If this $10,000 bill is what you mean." I pulled out my phone, opened the banking app, and slid it toward my dad. Her smug grin faded as the transactions lit up the screen, but that was only the tip. What I uncovered next about her deeper schemes would unravel everything. If you're watching this right now, drop a comment letting me know where you're tuning in from. Hit that like button and subscribe to hear how one calculated response demolished our family ties forever. That moment at dinner pushed me to finally confront the roots of it all. Growing up in rainy Seattle during the 90s, my sister and I couldn't have been more different. 2 years younger than me, Amanda always stole the spotlight with her endless energy and talent for dance recitals that filled our living room with trophies. Our parents, William and Susan Brooks, lit up at every performance, snapping photos and planning the next big event. I was the quiet kid buried in books, pulling straight A's without fanfare. Dad would ruffle my hair absent-mindedly and mutter, "Good job, Jen," before rushing off to handle whatever drama Amanda had stirred up that day. The dynamic set in early. Amanda craved attention and made rash choices that spiraled into problems while Mom and Dad swooped in to fix them, calling her their little firecracker. I figured out how to handle things on my own, building self-reliance out of necessity rather than choice. High school blurred into college for me. I earned a full scholarship to the University of Washington for marketing, diving into campaigns and analytics that felt like second nature. Those years let me breathe, forging friendships that valued my drive. But Amanda, she started at a community college, dropped out after a semester to chase her passion in online fashion sales, and bounced between failed ventures. By the time I graduated and landed my first job at a Seattle tech firm, I'd carved out stability through hard work and late nights. Promotions came steadily, and by 30, I was managing mid-level campaigns with a solid savings account. That's when the requests trickled in. First from Mom, "Amanda's short on rent this month, could you spot her?" Then Amanda herself. "My laptop crashed and Kevin's gigs are slow, we'll pay you back soon." What started as one-offs turned routine. Her car needed repairs, the kids required school supplies, utilities threatened cut off. Each transfer chipped away at my own goals, like saving for a down payment on a place of my own. I overlooked the red flags, at first convincing myself it was family duty. But lately, something shifted. Amanda's social media painted a picture of brunches at trendy spots and weekend escapes, clashing with her constant pleas for cash. When I mentioned it once, she snapped, "Those are just gifts, don't judge." Mom chimed in, "She's always lived big. You're doing fine, so why not help?" It felt like my success came with strings attached, obligating me to fund her chaos. A recent promotion to marketing director brought a nice raise and more responsibility, but sharing the news with Mom got interrupted by Amanda's call about an emergency appliance fix. I wired the money anyway, but doubt gnawed deeper. That's when I reached out to my cousin Mark Reynolds, a family lawyer who'd handled Dad's estate planning years back. "Mark, I need your eyes on something," I said over coffee in a quiet downtown spot. He agreed without hesitation, sensing the weight in my voice. We started with a discreet audit of shared family records. Nothing invasive at first, just pulling statements from joint accounts Dad had set up for emergencies. What we found hit like a gut punch. Amanda's Instagram feed versus her bank reality luxury handbags and spa days funded by maxed out cards she'd hidden. Worse, forged documents surfaced signatures mimicking mine on loan applications she never mentioned. And then the secret credit cards opened in family names without permission, racking up charges for things like designer kids' clothes. But the real bombshell came from Dad's legacy fund, a modest inheritance he'd earmarked for our futures after his retirement. Mark traced unauthorized withdrawals totaling $160,000 over 3 years' transfers to Amanda's accounts for business investments that never panned out. "This isn't borrowing, Jen," Mark said, his voice steady but firm. "It's misuse of a trust meant to protect you all." My hands shook as I scrolled through the logs. She hadn't just leaned on me, she'd raided the very safety net our family built. The stakes hit home hard. Dad's fund was his way of securing our paths after years of blue-collar work, and Amanda had treated it like her personal line of credit. I felt a mix of betrayal and resolve. This wasn't about one dinner jab anymore. It was about stopping the cycle before she dragged everyone down further. Mark suggested documenting everything quietly, building a case without alerting her yet. "Knowledge is power here," he advised. "Use it wisely." As we wrapped up, I realized I'd been enabling this for too long, handing over cash without questions while she played the victim. No more. The patterns from childhood had evolved into something dangerous, and it was time to expose them on my terms. Armed with the facts, I turned to trusted allies for the next steps. I scheduled a session with Dr. Karen Mills, a therapist specializing in family conflicts, who'd come recommended through work connections. Our first meeting happened in her cozy office overlooking Puget Sound, but I cut straight to the chase. "I've been the family's fixer for years," I explained, laying out the audit highlights without naming names yet. She nodded thoughtfully, jotting notes. "This sounds like a classic case of financial enmeshment," she said. "You're not just helping, you're propping up a system that's eroding your boundaries. Cutting ties requires strategy, not impulse." Dr. Mills suggested framing the confrontation as a boundary exercise, not an attack to minimize backlash. But I needed more than talk. I required legal backup. That's why I looped in Mark again, this time over a secure video call from my apartment. "We have to build an airtight record," he emphasized, his lawyer mode kicking in. We spent the next few days compiling everything: screenshots of suspicious transactions, cross-referenced with bank statements, copies of those questionable signatures scanned and notarized, and a timeline of every transfer I'd made to Amanda's accounts. Mark even pulled public records on her business filings, revealing shell companies that went nowhere. The evidence painted a damning picture, but exposing it raw could backfire. Family loyalty runs deep, and Amanda excelled at twisting narratives. Dr. Mills advised role-playing scenarios to prepare for her deflections, while Mark outlined potential fallout like credit freezes or small claims if things escalated. "You're not out for blood," he reminded me, "just protection for you and the family." I absorbed it all, feeling the shift from victim to architect of my own defense. To keep suspicions low, I played along on the surface. When Amanda texted about a quick $500 for the kids' uniforms, I sent it without a word, noting the transaction for the file. It stung, but it bought time, made her think the well hadn't run dry. Mom called midweek, her voice laced with that familiar hesitation. "Amanda mentioned she's tight again. Anything you can do?" I kept it light. "I'll handle it. Mom, just focus on Dad's birthday plans." Hanging up, I texted Mark an update, adding the latest entry to our shared drive. The birthday dinner became my chosen ground zero. Dad turning 60 deserved celebration, but it also gathered everyone under one roof, perfect for a controlled reveal. I volunteered to organize at Pacific Pearl, a seafood spot on the waterfront with private booths that muffled raised voices. Reserving the corner table felt tactical. I even coordinated the menu around Dad's favorites: grilled salmon and local wines, to keep the mood festive at first. Mark approved. Neutral territory, your orchestration smart move. As the date approached, I refined the prep with Dr. Mills in a follow-up call. We practiced responses to likely jabs like if Amanda played the family card. Stay factual, she coached. Emotions cloud judgment. Evidence cuts through. I mirrored her calm in the mirror that night, repeating lines until they felt natural. Mark sent a final packet, redacted copies ready to share if needed, plus advice on recording the evening legally in Washington state. The irony burned during one last small bailout. Amanda needed $200 for a late fee, and I covered it watching the app confirm. She thanked me profusely, oblivious. She wants to call me a freeloader, I muttered to myself, staring at the ceiling. Let's see who's really been living off whom. Dad's birthday loomed, and with the trap set, I felt ready, not vengeful, but resolute. This wasn't about destruction. It was about reclaiming what was mine, starting with the truth. The evening of Dad's birthday unfolded just as planned. I arrived at Pacific Pearl early, the waterfront breeze carrying hints of salt and grilled fish as I double-checked the setup. The corner booth overlooked the sound, dim lights casting a warm glow over the white linens and fresh flowers I'd arranged. Everything was in place, the menu finalized with Dad's beloved salmon, a bottle of his preferred Pinot chilling, and my phone charged with the evidence folder open. Mark had texted encouragement, "You've got this, facts over feelings." Dad and Mom showed up next, Dad in his crisp button-down looking sharper than usual, Mom beaming in a simple dress. "You outdid yourself, Jen," Dad said, clapping my shoulder as we settled in. I poured the wine, toasting lightly to his 60 years, the clink of glasses easing the knot in my stomach. Conversation flowed about neighborhood updates and old stories, but tension simmered under the surface. I knew Amanda and Kevin would arrive fashionably late, as always. Sure enough, 20 minutes past the reservation, they swept in. Amanda led with her usual flair, air-kissing Mom and Dad, while launching into excuses about traffic and parking woes. Kevin trailed behind, his tie slightly askew, avoiding eye contact. I noted her new earrings, immediately sparkling drops that screamed recent splurge paired with an outfit fresh from some boutique. Mom gushed, "You look fabulous, those earrings are stunning." Amanda beamed, twisting her wrist. "A little pick-me-up from Kevin, our anniversary's coming up." The dig landed subtly aimed at my single status, but I let it slide, focusing on passing the appetizers. As plates of oysters and salads arrived, Amanda dominated the talk with tales of her online store's big break and the girls' latest dance classes. Dad asked about my promotion once, but she interrupted with a dramatic story about Mia's school project. Kevin nodded along, picking at his food. The waiter refilled wines, and I steered the chat back to Dad's golf game, buying time. Then it happened. Midway through mains, as Dad cut into his salmon, Amanda turned to me with that sharp smile. "So Jen, what does it feel like to be a freeloader?" Her voice dripped sarcasm, eyes narrowing. "All that career grind, no family to show for it, just floating through life on your own." The table froze. Mom let out a nervous titter, Dad cleared his throat, and Kevin forced a chuckle. It was her classic move, twisting my independence into some flaw while ignoring her own dependencies. I held her gaze, heart pounding but voice even. "If this $10,000 bill is what you mean by freeloading?" I reached for my phone, unlocked it calmly, and slid the screen across to Dad. The banking app glowed with the ledger, every transfer from the past year neatly totaled, rent assists, car fixes, school fees, all funneled to her. Dad's eyes widened as he scrolled the numbers, adding up in real time. Amanda's fork clattered against her plate. "What is this? You're airing private stuff now." Her cheeks flushed, but I pressed on. "Private, like the $160,000 from Dad's legacy fund." I switched tabs, pulling up the redacted statements Mark had prepared, timestamps, account links, withdrawal confirmations straight from the trust records. "Unauthorized pulls for your investments." Amanda, right here in black and white. The booth went silent save for the distant hum of the restaurant. Mom gasped, hand to her mouth. "What do you mean from the fund?" Dad's face hardened, passing the phone to her. Kevin stared at his wife, jaw tight. Amanda stammered, "That's not... It's a misunderstanding. I was going to explain. It was temporary. Me." But the proof stared back, irrefutable. Kevin broke first, his voice low but clear. "She's right, Cass. No, Amanda. I've seen the statements too. The forged apps in Jen's name for our mortgage extension. That ends now." He turned to me. "I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. Can't keep covering for this." Amanda whipped toward him. "You're taking her side after everything." The betrayal hung thick, her empire cracking right there amid the half-eaten entrees. I stood slowly, napkin in hand. "This isn't sides, it's reality. No more funds, no more excuses. Figure it out yourselves." Grabbing my purse, I nodded to Dad. "Happy birthday. Enjoy the rest. Bills covered." As I walked out into the cool Seattle night, the door swinging shut behind me, I heard the first raised voices erupt. The chain had started, and there was no stopping it now. The raised voices faded as I drove home, but the real storm was just brewing. By the time I pulled into my parking spot, my phone buzzed relentlessly. Texts from Mom first. "Jen, what was all that? Call us now." Dad followed. "We need to talk about the fund. How long has this been going on?" I let them sit unread for a moment, pulling over to breathe. The adrenaline crash hit, leaving a hollow ache, but underneath it was clarity. No regrets, just the weight of what came next. I called Mom back first, her voice shaky on the line. "Your father and I reviewed those statements you showed. It's devastating. Amanda took from the legacy fund without a word." I stayed calm, recapping the basics without emotion. "It's misuse, Mom. Mark can confirm." She paused. Then, "We're cutting her off completely. No more help, no excuses. This ends tonight." Dad got on the extension, his tone firmer than I'd heard in years. "She'll have to face the consequences. We're changing the account access tomorrow." Their decision landed like a turning point. For once, the favoritism cracked under the facts. Word spread fast in our tight-knit circle. The next morning, Mark filed an initial fraud report with the local authorities, citing the unauthorized withdrawals as potential identity misuse under Washington law. "It's not charges yet," he explained during our check-in call, "but it starts the paper trail. Banks will freeze related accounts soon." I appreciated his measured approach. This was protection, not prosecution. By afternoon, Amanda's online presence crumbled. Her Instagram, once a highlight reel of fabricated glamour, vanished. A mutual friend texted me, "Saw her profile go dark. What's happening?" Whispers rippled through extended family chats, with cousins pulling back from her endless group invites. Kevin reached out separately that evening, his message direct. "Jen, I didn't know the full extent until tonight. Those forged docs for our mortgage extension. She used your info to qualify for a bigger loan, nearly $20,000 we can't repay." My stomach twisted at the detail, but it solidified the betrayal. "I'm done enabling," he added. "Divorce papers are with my attorney. The girls stay with me." I replied simply, "Do what's right for them. I'll support you there." His admission peeled back another layer, turning her web of lies into isolated threads. Amanda's response came in waves. First, a barrage of voicemails, tearful pleas mixed with accusations. "How could you blindside me like that? Mom and Dad are overreacting because of you." I listened to one, her voice cracking. "The girls need stability. Don't ruin us." Then the guilt-tripping escalated. A video attachment popped up, showing Mia and Zoe looking somber in their room. Amanda's narration soft. "Tell Aunt Jen how much you miss her help." It tugged hard, those innocent faces caught in the crossfire, but Dr. Mills's words echoed. "Manipulation preys on your empathy. Protect yourself first." I forwarded the video to Mark for records, then blocked her number partially, allowing only emergencies through a family group. Mom confirmed they'd spoken to her too. She denied it all at first, but the proof shut her down. No more money from us. Social fallout deepened when old neighbors and her boutique contacts distanced themselves. Rumors of bounced checks and shady deals circulated quietly. Amanda tried reaching out through Kevin once. "Tell Jen I'm sorry, it was a mistake." But he shut it down. "Earn it back yourself." Isolation set in visibly. A week later, during a coffee with Lisa, she updated me on mutual acquaintances. "Amanda's been ghosting everyone. Her empire is crumbling." I nodded, sipping my latte without satisfaction, just relief that the cycle broke. The dominoes kept falling. Banks notified of the report freezing joint access. Her car payment lapsed, leading to repossession threats. Dad's fund got locked down with Mark overseeing transfers to safer spots. Through it all, I leaned on Dr. Mills for processing. "This backlash is her testing boundaries," she noted in our session. "Stay firm. It's reshaping the family for the better." Mom and Dad started weekly calls with me, instead sharing their shock, but also pride. "You gave us the truth we needed." Kevin filed formally custody, leaning his way given the instability. Amanda's attempts at contact dwindled, her isolation a direct result of the exposure. No more safety nets to catch her falls. The chain reaction proved relentless, each piece toppling the next, leaving her to confront the mess she'd made alone. 1 month after the initial fallout, the family convened for a reckoning. We gathered at my parents' modest home in the suburbs, the living room cleared of knickknacks to make space for the uncomfortable truth. Mom had baked neutral coffee cake, but no one touched it. Dad sat at the head of the table, folders from Mark spread before him. I arrived early with Lisa for moral support, her presence a quiet anchor. Mark joined via video from his office screen set up on the sideboard. Amanda and Kevin were last her entering with forced composure, Kevin's face etched with exhaustion. Dad opened firmly. "This isn't optional. We lay it all out today." He passed the compiled evidence around, full bank logs, notarized copies of the forged applications and the trust statements, highlighting the $160,000 in withdrawals. Amanda scanned the top sheet, her expression shifting from defiance to unease. "This is exaggerated," she started, voice pitching higher. "I borrowed for the business. It was all going to pay off." Mom interjected softly. "But it wasn't your money to take, dear. The legacy fund was for all of us, for the girls' futures too." Amanda's eyes welled. "You don't get it. Kevin's income dipped, the house payments piled up. I did what I had to for our family." She glanced at Kevin, expecting backup, but he shook his head. "Not like this, Amanda. The forgeries on the mortgage, using Jen's details to boost the loan. That's why the bank's calling now." The room tensed as Kevin slid over his own packet, divorce filing stamped and dated, custody proposal attached. "I've consulted a lawyer. Primary custody for Mia and Zoe stays with me. Supervised visits for you until stability's proven." Amanda bolted upright. "You're destroying us. The girls need their mom full-time." Kevin met her glare. "They need security, not more debt. Your choices put us here." Dr. Mills, invited for neutrality, nodded from her chair. "This is about accountability. Denial prolongs the pain." Charges progressed steadily. Mark updated via screen. The fraud report triggered an investigation. Credit agencies are alerted, scores tanked across linked accounts. Her business filings flagged for review, contacts are pulling out. Amanda paled, gripping the table. "This is ruining me. Jen, call it off. You started this war." I leaned forward, voice steady. "No war, just consequences. The evidence speaks for itself." Blacklisting hit her network hard. Former boutique partners emailed Dad citing unreliable payments, and now the report. Online vendor lists dropped her store. "No one wants the risk," Mark confirmed. Family exile sealed it. Dad announced the will update. "The remaining fund goes to direct beneficiaries only. You're out, Amanda. No more access." Mom added quietly, "We love you, but trust is earned back through actions." Amanda lashed out. then tears turning to fury. "You're all ganging up jealous of my life, picking on me because I'm the one with a real family." She pointed at me. "You sit there alone judging while we struggle." Kevin stood. "Enough. We're done." He gathered his things, signaling the end. Amanda stormed toward the door, slamming it behind her, her isolation complete, no allies left in the room. As the echo faded, Dad turned to me. "You gave us clarity, Jen. Hard, but necessary." Mom hugged me tight, the first real warmth in months. Mark signed off with next steps on safeguards. Kevin lingered briefly. "Thanks for not escalating, focus on the girls now." The meeting wrapped, leaving a hollow quiet, but for me, it marked the annihilation of the old dynamics. Amanda's path forward was hers alone to navigate. 6 months on the consequences rippled into lasting change. My life stabilized in ways I hadn't anticipated. With the funds secured and my savings intact, I closed on a cozy 2-bedroom in Capitol Hill, cozy brick exterior, open kitchen for late-night work sessions, and a view of the Space Needle on clear days. The down payment felt earned, not borrowed from someone else's chaos. At work, the promotion to senior director came through, recognizing my focus during the personal storm. Colleagues praised the fresh campaigns I led, free from distractions. Ryan Keller entered the picture around then, an architect I'd met through a client project. Our first date at a low-key bistro turned into easy talks about boundaries and growth. He'd navigated his own family rifts and admired my resolve. "Standing firm like that, it's rare strength," he said one evening, hand in mine, during a walk along the waterfront. Dating him brought balance, no strings or expectations, just mutual respect that filled the quiet spaces. Family ties realigned too. Mom and Dad grew closer, their weekly dinners now centered on us three, stories of Dad's golf league, Mom's book club wins. "We're rebuilding without the weight," Dad admitted over coffee one Sunday. They leaned on me for advice, not cash, and I felt seen for the first time. Mark facilitated support for the girls' birthday gifts sent directly, school event updates shared without Amanda's filter. Kevin appreciated it. "Keeps things normal for Mia and Zoe. They ask about you often." Custody finalized in his favor, with Amanda limited to weekends under supervision. Her appeals denied due to financial instability. Amanda's dissent played out in fragments pieced from public records and distant reports. Chapter 7. Bankruptcy hit 3 months post-meeting, wiping debts but stripping assets. The house foreclosed after missed payments, car repossessed for the loan default. She relocated to a cramped studio in a rougher part of town, scraping by on minimum wage at a big-box retail job, stocking shelves, no glamour left. Disinheritance locked in. The will revision excluded her entirely, funneling remnants to me and the girls' trust. Kevin shared sparingly. "She's fighting the custody terms, but the judge cited her situation: unstable housing, no steady income." Mia and Zoe thrived with him, dance classes funded from his steady gig driving for a delivery service. Amanda attempted contact once through a mutual aunt. "Tell Jen I need help. This is killing me." But I stayed, blocked responses routed to Mark for legal eyes only. Isolation deepened, no family visits. Old friends faded, her online ventures shuttered by bad reviews and warnings. Dr. Mills helped unpack the mix in sessions. "Victory isn't gloating, it's peace from enforced limits." Lisa echoed it during our catch-ups. "You reclaimed your space, that's the real win." Ryan joined a family barbecue at my new place, blending seamlessly with Mom and Dad's warmth. The gathering felt genuine, laughter free of undercurrents. Amanda persisted in struggle, piecing a life from fragments, retail shifts, occasional side hustles that fizzled. Reports trickled, eviction notices dodged narrowly, court dates for unpaid fines. No redemption arc, just the grind of self-inflicted isolation. 6 months marked the divide, my path upward, hers mired in fallout. Looking back, the best revenge wasn't payback, it was refusing the victim role entirely. Boundaries built true power, fostering respect where manipulation once ruled. That refusal reshaped everything, proving family thrives on honesty, not obligation.